Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel, Expat Barbados. Oh my goodness, we've already got 9 people ready and waiting. Oh, a huge welcome to you all. The first live of 2025. And what better way to celebrate this year with my 2 amazing guests, Judy and Gail. So please let me know in the chat where you are located, guys. Don't be shy. Let me know in the chat where you are located. Right. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Amanda from UK. Nesret. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I'm from British Columbia, Canada, originally from East Africa, Ethiopia. Thank you all for your time. Z, hello, currently located in London, UK, glad to join. Gillian, hi, I got your message from the US. Casey, hello, Casey, lovely to see you again. And Stormy as well, her beautiful dog from St. Louis. Oh my goodness, just do it 86 years ago. Hi from the UK, the gallivanting grandma. Hey, glad to join you from Ecuador. Adela, good afternoon, Jay. Oh my goodness, there's so many people. Is it DeJory? Greetings from Ohio, US. Wow, thank you guys for joining us. You won't be disappointed. Today is really, I believe, if I could have had this level of support when I first started looking at potentially moving to Barbados, I think it would have made my life a lot easier if I had all this preparation. But you live and learn. But we want to make it a lot easier for you guys. Now, firstly, I want to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed to my channel. Can you believe it's almost 2 years since I started the channel? I can barely believe it myself, 2 years ago. And when I look back at those old videos, and those of you, and many of you said you've seen all my videos, you will see me in the UK and I'm walking and I've got great big layers of big coats on, thick coats on. And all I was talking about was this dream that I wanted to move to Barbados and how I was going to do the seasonal stay. And it's crazy to think that almost 2 years later, I am actually here. But guys, I couldn't have done it without people here, my family, and other experts who've helped me along the way and helped me to learn all the tips and tricks and the information that you need to ensure you have a smooth process when you move to Barbados. Right, Zuri, hi Jane, everyone. Zuri's checking in from the UK. It's fantastic because another thing that I want to point out is that I really feel now, because I've met so many of you in the chat now. I've actually met many of you in person. Some I've met you obviously virtually. And it just feels so amazing because it feels like I'm talking to friends, and friends that I feel that I've developed, I will have, as long life friends in the future. So AJ, hi Anita, she's from St. Philip, Barbados, a really good friend. Hi Courtney, lovely to see you here as well. So we've got 17 people on the chat and we are going to get started. So guys, if you're going to see me holding up this phone, and I've said exactly the same to Judy and Gail, because obviously, we've had some amazing questions. So we want to make sure that we use the time or use your time efficiently. So what I'm going to do is just get through to make sure that I'm covering everything. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Today's live is a chance for you to learn more about moving to Barbados and how the Expat Barbados team can help you explore your possibilities, different options, safe in the knowledge that you will have the support of a trusted team here in Barbados, people who are actually here in Barbados, who are experts in their field. Because so many have told me about situations where you have felt that you have been mistreated, or you felt that you couldn't trust the people who you were working with, so many instances of long delays and so on. And I think the key to that is education. And that's one of the reasons why this live is just going to be a first of many others. And it's to educate you, educate us all, because with education and understanding the legalities, you will have a much better, I would say, journey in terms of moving to Barbados. Okay, we've got Genevieve. Is it Genevieve? Hello, Jay. It's me. Oh, it's Laurie. Hi, Laurie from London. Okay, so I'm going to ask our amazing guests to introduce themselves and let us know what they specialise in. If you've been looking at the information that I've provided, you'll know something. But I think it'll be really nice for us to get started with Gail, who is our legal consultant. She's the person who helped me purchase my house successfully, even with and in spite of the challenges. Okay. Over to you,
Hi,
Gail.
everyone. Thanks, Jackie. Hi, everyone. My name is Gail. I've been in the profession for over 25 years, not really revealing my age, but over 25 years. I did a lot of work in property, mainly real estate, company formations, external companies, um, wills, immigration, and a lot of stuff, a lot of legal stuff. So I'm versed in a lot of legal stuff. So anything that you want to ask, don't be afraid to ask me. I think I have a pretty good idea of what is out there.
Excellent. Thank you, Gail. And over to Judy.
Hi, viewers. My name is Judy. I'm originally from the UK. While I was there, I was a corporate banker, and then I decided to move to Barbados, and I retrained as a real estate agent. Um, and I've been doing that now for over 8 years. So I have a lot of information that I can share with you today.
Excellent. Thank you, Judy. Can I just quickly say, Adela, or is it Adela? You're joining from the plane on United Airlines, leaving Hastings, Barbados.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Thank you, Adela. That is so amazing. And we're so pleased that you've taken the time to do that in
Wow.
spite of you traveling. And that just shows you how people are passionate for information. They're hungry for
Yes.
information, the right information. So, Rob Gilbert, hi. He's looking forward to this live chat. Sharon says, hi, everyone from the US. That's lovely. We've now got 24 people here. So, thank you, ladies. So, in order to get us started, some of you probably know that I've been asking you to share your questions, and some people have been sharing their questions. So I'm going to get started by asking Gail and Judy to answer one question each. That will give you the opportunity, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, maybe off of the back of that question, or you might have other questions. And I am going to do my best to keep track of your questions because the comment section's moved. So if you see me holding up my phone, it's probably because I'm going to do a screenshot of the questions so we don't miss anything. So yes, so we're going to get started with Gail. So this is your first question. Let's look at the questions. What bank? Now, this question is coming up more and more, and it's a really important question because 2 years ago, or I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, when I first looked at banks, the process has basically changed. And so I think it's really good that Gail is here to be able to give us the information on that. So what bank would you recommend that works with overseas visitors? How long would it take to set up? Would you need to look to book an appointment before you visit?
Okay, Jackie, thanks. Opening a bank account is, I would say, it's pretty basic. But it all depends on the documentation that you have and the documentation that you can produce to the bank. as a non-national of Barbados, you either have to show that you have property in Barbados, you have, ties to Barbados property, or you have set up a business. Um, and it's this, so you need to show your title deeds. You will need to show your passport, two forms of identification, usually your passport, your driver's license, proof of address, where you are in the UK or in America. And most importantly, the bank will need to see a letter of reference from your bank in the country that you reside in to make sure that you are of good standing. That is very important. Um, in terms of recommendation, in terms of international banks, we have CIBC, we have the Bank of Nova Scotia. Those are two banks that I would recommend. Two banks that I would recommend that you can attend. You don't have to make an appointment. You can go in and note the times, because banks now are changing their time. So banks now are 8 till 3. Some of them starting from next month. Some of them will be 8 till 2. So just be wary of the time and the to go to the bank. But you don't have to make an appointment. So as I say, it's fairly easy to open a bank account. Once you can show these things, you won't have what the I think the only holdup, if you don't have it, that will take a little time to open the account, is the letter of reference from your bank in the US or the UK. So food for thought, that is something that you can actually walk with. You can bring along with you when you're coming to the island. If that is what you want to do, just make sure and bring that, because I know sometimes it's difficult when you get here and then trying to get things from over there, from the bank and stuff like that. So it's best that you walk with it, so that you have all the documentation ready for when the bank asks certain questions. In terms of the time frame, um, it can be same day or it can be next day. As I say, depends on the documentation that you have, and if you have everything that the bank needs. Yes. Sometimes the bank also needs the proof of address to be certified. You can walk with a light bill, electricity bill, or water bill, or a bank statement will do. Some banks sometimes ask for them to be certified, but once you have your original passport and your original driver's license with you, you can just show them the original and they will make a copy. Yes.
Thank you for that, Gail. Now, very interestingly, because I've looked into this as well, now, and I was told exactly the same as you, but I've also found out that there is one bank where they're allowing you to open it as an online facility to open an account. I've recently have found that out because somebody through a consultation was asking me about it. But I was told when I went into the bank, because people on, subscribers, people here in this community have asked me, and they told me exactly what you said, that you have to have some link to Barbados to open an account in these banks. But maybe what I'm thinking is, because of the movement of more people coming as remote workers, welcome stamps and so on, that's maybe why there are some banks now that are setting up an online facility to open an account, because I saw that recently. And actually, and I saw somebody, I don't know if it was Anita, that just said that I think it's Sagicor. So I think this may be a new thing, but definitely it wasn't like that maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was definitely a lot more challenging to open an account. And you can't go into, and if you think about it, if you're buying property, you do need, in a way, eventually to have a bank account. But what they told me was you can only open that bank account once you've got proof of ownership.
Yes.
So my friend went in and she didn't have proof of ownership because they're just going through the process. And they told her to come back when you've got proof of ownership. So So yeah, so that for some of you out there might be a little bit, that's a challenge because you're not looking to buy property yet. So how are you going to do that? But however, I've also spoken to people, lots of different people. I see them on Facebook, and they say it can take a long time to open a bank account. Don't let that put you off, because there's plenty of people who don't have a Bayesian bank account and they're still over here. So there are ways around it. And as we said, Sagicor, I think, have this, because a lot of people now are doing online banking, so there are ways. So that is one to note. And I will probably leave a link to that one in the description so that people can look into that, and we'll see. And if I have any more information on banking, I will definitely share that, because I know that's what people want. But I think the main thing to understand is that things are much more challenging in certain ways because of things that have happened all over the world. There is more eyes on people buying and selling. And so there's a lot more policies in place and procedures that make it much more, not challenging, but it's just, there's certain steps that you have to go through, and that's why it's good to have the legal support and so on. So thank you for that.
Jackie,
Yes.
can I say something else as well?
Yes.
Another avenue. Thank you for the Sagicor Bank, but yes, Sagicor Bank is relatively new and it's all online. Everything is online, so it's relatively new. Another avenue to the opening of a bank account. Yes, you can have the welcome stamp. You can open an account once you have the welcome stamp, or if you are you're in the transit stage of applying for immigration, some sort of immigration status. Once you can show that you have applied, you have proof of the application went in and stuff like that, you can actually open a bank account as well.
Right. So that's, again, giving people other options. I've been talking actually a lot about the welcome stamp as another opening for people here in this community, because it does give people the opportunities to actually come here on a visa. But yeah, let's move on now to Judy. And let me just check in the comments, because there have been some comments around that. So someone has said, what if you're a dual citizen of Barbados and the US? Is it the same process to open a bank account?
If you are a dual citizen, you have dual citizen, you don't have to own piece of the rock. You can actually go in and set up, because that dual citizenship is enough for you.
Yes. So Beige Boy, hi Beige Boy, nice to see you here. He's just said you also need proof of income in some instances.
Yes.
Now, Anita has said credit unions are also an alternative to banks. And they are COB and the BPWCCUL. I have a credit union account as well. I think it's worth having one. I think, is it easier to set them up to join a credit union, Gail?
Once upon a time, you had to belong to a union to join a credit union. But that is not the case anymore. You can go in just like a bank and you can make the application the same way. It is only if you join one credit union and you want to join another credit union, you have to get approval from one credit union to join another credit union. But other than that, you can go in just like the bank and provide your information the same way.
Brilliant. That's what, and I think it's useful having a credit union account as another opportunity to have somewhere where you can put your money and save money, because you can withdraw on it as well. And maybe in the future, if you're actually paying into that credit union, it could help you, maybe if you needed a loan or something, in the future.
Yes.
So I do kind of recommend that as well. So Judy, moving on to you now.
Yes, Jackie.
This is a really good, actually, question. Is there a website that I can access to see what real estate agents on Barbados have in, which real estates in Barbados have, or real estate brokers have licenses? Because I've talked about that on my channel as well to make sure. But could you sort of elaborate on that, please?
There is no official list of real estate agents who have licenses. There is a regulatory body in Barbados called Barbados Estate Agents and Valuers Association, which most licensed, but all licensed real estate agents are a member of. There are some who are not members of that regulatory body. But if you want to find out if your estate agent is a licensed member, you can go onto their website. It's called Beaver for short, and you can go onto that website, and it will have a whole list of all the agencies plus the agents which have a real estate license.
Okay, so could you just actually just
I wanted to add, yeah, I wanted to, oh, it's BEAVA.
Okay,
So it's
so
the
I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah. The Barbados Estate Agents and Valuers Association.
So BEAVA.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's the body.
That's the regulatory body that regulates the estate agents in Barbados. And all estate agents that are members have to have a license, and they do ongoing training, regular yearly ongoing training. And we're advised of all the legalities and anything that we should be notified as a real estate agent from the government via that body.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you for that. So I'm going to just check through now, because I know there's been people asking some other questions in relation to that. Let me just check to make sure we've not missed anybody. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to, I think we've covered everything to do with the banks so far. Unless there's other questions, please, if you have questions, please add them to the chat. I'm going to take this opportunity to say hi to H&D. Lovely to see you here. And also, let me just say, anybody else who I might have missed. If I've missed anybody, just want to make sure I'm saying hi to you all. And it's lovely to have your support. Now, this is another question for you, Gail. Is there a safe and secure way of sending money from the UK for when you're buying property?
Usually when you're buying property, the first thing you do is you make a deposit. So the safest thing to do is you will get the solicitors wire instructions, and they will give you the wire instructions for you to wire the money to Barbados. The money can be in sterling, pounds, and convert to Barbados on arrival, or sometimes it comes from a US account straight to another US account. That is the safest way. The onus now is on the solicitor to register your funds with the central bank, which is very, very important.
So that's a good question to ask, because basically I went through that whole scenario of the central bank. Can you tell us why the central bank is involved in all of this now? What is the
but no. It has always been, because you have to make sure too that it's foreign exchange, huh? And you have to make sure too that your money is safe, and it's good to be registered, because in any event that you do want to sell years down the road, 1 year down the road, 6 months down the road, and you need to get your money out, you need to show proof that the money you brought in was registered.
Yeah. And the reason why people have asked that question is because they're hearing of attorneys, lawyers who are running off with money.
Yes.
How does that sort of thing happen?
How does it happen?
Yes. I'm not saying you know, but I'm just thinking you would think that there's regulatory bodies to stop that sort of thing. Obviously, maybe.
Well, we have the Barbados Bar Association, but it's not like somebody is there to police everyone and every transaction. Is the integrity of the person that you're doing business with, which is very important. In my case, we have where clients are referred because they know you, they know your company's reputation and what you stand for. So my advice is to do some research on the person that you want to go with, especially if it's someone that you're just picking out of a hat or you don't have recommendations for. But it's still good to ask around the community, because I'm sure that you would have had one or two persons that have bought in Barbados, and it's just a matter of hearing their experience with their lawyer, because one person's experience might not be another person's experience. So it's all about, integrity. Trust and integrity is very, very important.
Yeah.
And do your research. Do
Yeah,
your research.
I always say you have to do your due diligence. And those of you probably seen the video I did about how you can check, because there's lists of attorneys as well, isn't there, to make sure that they're on the bar.
Yes, the Barbados Bar Association have a list of all the attorneys on their website, the list of attorneys and the list of the companies, attorneys and the law firm. So you can always go on the Barbados Bar Association and always see the list of attorneys.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Central Bank has always been involved in any monies or certain items being shipped to Barbados, for example, motor cars. A&J Watson have just said. And we know why these things are happening, because there's a lot of things, like we've said, people coming in suspicious circumstances, wanting to purchase property and so on. But where is that money coming from? And that's what they do. They do all the checks. And I had to go through all of that as well. In fact, when I was paying for the house, my UK bank, they would barely send my money because they were doing that many checks, so many checks, and they would barely send my money because they want to make sure that you're safe and that you're not sending it to somebody who might be taking advantage of you. And
Exactly.
Gail, you might remember that because you were on the phone talking to them, weren't you?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Can I add something to that as well?
Yes.
I don't know about from other countries, but the banks in the UK are liable up to a certain amount of money. If your money disappeared and they sent it with your instructions, they are liable up to a certain amount. I don't know what that amount is now because things keep changing. So that's why they do so many checks.
Yeah. So,
because the money is going through the banking system, and really it should be able to be tracked onto its destination.
Yeah.
And if it was missing in the meantime, the banks are liable.
Yeah. And that's how they were. So, yeah, thank you very much for that, Judy. Okay, so I think we're back to Judy, aren't we? So we want to talk a little bit about real estate. So lots of people keep asking me about the different areas where people live, and in particular where expats live and so on. And so I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that, what you're seeing in your experience, because I know you work with different clients, including expats.
Well, expats, it depends on what because we get a lot of expats that come here to work, and then we get people who are what we call returnees, who were born in Barbados, lived abroad, and then they come back. And what I'm finding, a lot of the returnees are moving to areas like St. Philip, St. James, and Christchurch, along with the expats. The expats like to come and live in areas where there are more vibrant, more things are going on, like there are lots of shops, restaurants, activities, gyms, that sort of stuff. But the returnees are going to areas which are more rural. like say St. Philip, St. John, St. George.
Thank you. That's really good. Yeah, because I've noticed as that. I mean, for me, one of the biggest things was access to public transport, because I don't have a car. So that was one of the things that I wanted, but definitely close to shops and close to, you know, where you can buy things from local vendors and so on. That's really, really important to me. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but everybody has their own idea of what they want to live and what they want to do. So it's up to the individual. Some people might want to live as far as St. Lucie, St. Peter. So yeah, it's an individual choice. So sometimes you have to talk to individual people, because I could recommend an area, but that might not be what they would want personally.
Yeah. Where would you say you get the best value if you was looking at buying and also in terms of renting?
What we will class as the rural areas in Barbados, that's what you will get for best value for buying and renting. But people, when they're coming in to rent for the first time, they want to be somewhere where they feel they can get around and they feel comfortable. You won't want to be put somewhere where you can't get transportation very easily, or there are no shops locally. So if you're coming to Barbados for the first time, it'd be best to go into those areas, say somewhere like in Christchurch or St. James area, Whole Town, somewhere like that. So you'll feel more comfortable, or St. Michael.
Yeah, just because everything's more accessible for you.
Exactly.
And then I do encourage people to spend some time in different parts of the island until you find out where it is that you want to live. Because when you come, you come as on holiday or vacation, you come as a tourist. But if you're thinking of living here long term, then you need to then you make that decision where you want to live based on not being a tourist. You know, you want to live your life, and you want to be able to find things that, yes, accessible, but also well priced, because, you know, these are the things that we're looking at, because in terms of being able to live here on a long-term basis. So getting value for money. Love and Grace, hi. A really great question, which I'm going to ask you, Judy, just because it kind of swings off the back of that. It says, when you locate a property, you may be interested in buying, for example, and there may not be a for sale listed. Are you able to find out who the property owner is to inquire about it? Because I talk about this, often you see a lot of properties, there's no, it looks like they've just been left. There isn't necessarily even a for sale listed. How do you go about finding out about that property?
That's a difficult one. The real estate agent could go to the land tax office, and hopefully they will give you information on it. They used to in the past. I haven't been there for a while, but they used to. If you have the land tax reference number, they can give you that information, because as a real estate, as a professional, they're deemed to give us that information. But I haven't been there for a while, so I can't verify if they still do that. But that is one way of doing it. For an ordinary person, it have to be word of mouth. You'll have to speak to the neighbors or speak to somebody in the know, because there's no way you're going to find out that information. That property, it could be owned by somebody who's overseas.
Yeah. I've said to people exactly what you've just said. Talk to the neighbors, even potentially drop a note in just in case someone comes, because sometimes you get people will come and occasionally come and clear the garden, you know, when it gets really overgrown. So you might find that somebody picks it up, but your best bet is to actually talk to people in the neighborhood. And generally, well, from my experience, they've been very helpful. So yeah, good question. Now, oh, this is great. H&D. So, wow, she's just bought a ticket to Barbados. It will be her first visit to the island. Wow, that's fantastic. So it's lovely to see that people are coming. So yeah, congratulations, Dee. Bought her ticket already. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. That's something else that we planned in the future. What are the I'm gonna say this now quickly. Sorry, Judy, because again,
go ahead.
What are the advantages or disadvantages of buying in a gated community? Is there offering properties for resale? I mean, let's do that bit first. What are the advantages or disadvantages of buying in the gated community? Are there many gated communities?
There are a few. There are a few in Barbados. What can I say? The advantages are that some people like to feel safe. They feel that it's buying in a gated community, they'll be safe. Their children can run around. They don't have to worry. But the disadvantages are you're away from the locals. You'll be in an area where it's just a certain a group of people. So you won't be like you're in Barbados. You could be in anywhere in the world. It won't be like you're living in a place in Barbados. So, but a lot of people, some people do go for gated communities because they do it because they feel more comfortable doing it. And they normally, I find that some people have young children.
Okay. I've also seen that people have done it because of the fact that they do it as an investment and they rent them out. That's what I've seen people do. And because they've got facilities, additional facilities like sports things, pools and things like that, it's attractive to people when they're renting it out. So I've seen people who do that. But the disadvantage is the rates, the service charts, the service rates monthly. Am I right, Judy?
Yeah.
They do have high monthly service rates. And gated communities, the price point is very high normally. So you have to be, that is what I want, and prepared to pay for it if you want to live in a gated community. It's not going to be like living anywhere else on the island.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, so now let's get back to Gail. So let me just go back to these questions here. Now, I don't think we answered this right. What can I do? What can I be doing now to start the process to relocate? I live in the US, but will need a loan in Barbados to buy a property. What documentation will I need? Is there a credit score that I need to have? I am of US and Barbadian citizenship.
US and Barbadian citizenship, which is good because he or she will be able to open a bank account fairly easy because they have citizenship. So it's basically the same way. One of the things, and if they want a loan, the other thing is that the bank reference letter from your overseas bank and proof of income. Will be at the top of the list because the bank don't know you. You want a loan, so they will need proof of income and the reference from your bank for you to get started. But bear in mind, you can't just get a loan because you would have to be in Barbados and shopping around for the property that you like with the real estate agent to see what price range you are looking at. And then two, depending on your income, the bank will also look at how much you can borrow and and if you're eligible to pay back that amount as well. So proof of income is very, very important. But as I say, you have to shop around first to see what property, what land you are looking for before. That's your first step. You have to shop around with the agent to see what you like and the areas you like and the price range. But it's
Okay.
basically the same as opening a bank account, all the other information we said before, but proof of income is very important.
Yeah. So
Can
that's
I
the most important thing. Yeah. So
can I also add something on that?
yes, Judy.
What we're finding is that when it comes to getting a mortgage overseas, somebody who's overseas and they want a mortgage here in Barbados, it's probably best if they go to the bank first and find out how much they can borrow from the bank before
Qualified.
what are they qualified to borrow
Mhm.
before we even start anything, because you will come to Barbados then and you would know exactly what price range we're looking at, because you could come and say, I want this 500,000 Barbados dollars, but you're not qualified to buy that property. So then you have to start the whole process again. So it is, especially with the estate agents, they will ask you, what are you pre-qualified? What is your pre-qualified number? Do you have a pre-qualification letter? Before they even start looking? Because you could be looking for a needle in a haystack.
So what would you need? Let's just say then you're coming from like somewhere, I mean, this person is a US and Barbadian citizen, so she can open a bank account. She may well have had a bank account for many years, maybe even have a credit union. So it may be easy for her to get a mortgage. But what about somebody who, say like me, wasn't known? Is it actually possible to get a mortgage in that way?
Yes, it's still possible to get a mortgage. Like for you, Jackie, yes, it's still possible. It depends on your net worth.
Right. Okay. So I've got to prove then certain things in terms of how much I earn. Right. And this is why I say, don't leave it too late like me when you've retired, when you're not got your highest net worth. Start looking at buying property when you actually got a good salary, because that's the better time to invest and get a mortgage. What do you say, Gail?
Yes, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, because if you come in like me at my age and you stop working, it's your income is basically your pension,
Yeah,
or any savings you've got. But if you had, you have a job and you've got, a really good salary, that's the time to start thinking about buying
yeah.
property
And it's good. It's
and getting
good when
towards.
you're coming in twos, when it's a husband and wife,
Yes,
way
yeah,
better.
yeah. Or it could be, siblings who want to do that together, because I hear of people,
Yes.
families where they buy together. And I think we have to be flexible. I think we need to start realizing that, okay, one person can't buy it, but maybe together you can. I think we have to be more like that in order to be able to achieve our goals. Beige Boy said it would be best to get a mortgage certificate. Is that what you're saying then?
Yes, yes, correct.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes the process a lot easier and a lot
Mhm.
quicker for the going through the banks and for the real estate agents to locate a property for you.
Yeah. Okay, so Gallivanting Grandma, hi, she's saying boots on the ground is the best way to find properties. And I definitely agree with that.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's why I see them, because you're walking, you're out and about. You get to see these hidden properties. But there's also properties that you can buy that have been taken back from the bank. I've forgotten what you call them. They've been repossessed.
Well, repossessed properties, yeah.
So how would you find that?
Foreclosed or repossessed.
Yeah, I think they are advertised actually just on the websites. I know that actually. Yeah, but that's something you can look for. Z says, are there monthly rates like a council tax associated with buying a property? Because in England we have to pay council tax.
Yeah. Is once you have it depends on the community. Just like what Judy was talking about with the gated community. We call them communal expenses. And sometimes they can be monthly, they can be quarterly, or they can be yearly, depends on the location of the property. But that communal tax will usually sometimes, if there's a, a, a central pool that everybody uses, the garden facilities, and in a lot of those neighborhoods too, you would have like the neighborhood association, property owners association. You would have those. So it all depends on the location and what amenities are offered in that neighborhood. You will pay a communal fee every month or every quarter or yearly. It all depends on where it is.
So for me, I have a land tax. So anybody who buys a house, is that right? Is that like then our land tax that we
Well,
pay?
land tax, everybody that buys land or buys house and land, yes, you have to pay land tax yearly.
Yeah. So for Z, who was asking, I think it's the equivalent of a land tax, and that's based on, is it the, because that's how it is in England. It's based on the value of your property and the area. So I think land, is it called land tax? That's what I know.
Yes.
I have to pay. So yes.
Can I just add to that? Yes, it is called land tax, what Z was asking for.
Yeah.
I do understand what Gail was talking about. Yes, we do have those fees.
So council tax.
Yes, so
in
it's
the UK is land tax in Barbados.
It's a proper tax, but the
Okay.
fees Gail was talking about are fees which are paid to an association which looks after that property on a monthly basis. So that's something different. But yes, we do have something called land tax, which you have to pay yearly. It's based on the value of the property that you bought.
Also, Casey wants to confirm. Just to confirm, Barbados does not require credit score then in order to invest in property?
No.
Not credit score, but their credit bureaus. So the bank and the credit union still do their credit checks. They do credit checks. They still do credit checks.
Right. Okay.
But there's no such thing as a credit score.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what websites are the foreclosed or the repossessed properties on? I've seen them on. Am I right, Judy? I've seen them on. I've told them to look.
But as far as I'm aware, there's no website. I don't know
all of the general
Gail
one.
may be able to add to this, but from my experience, there are certain real estate agents who are given these properties
associated with the bank. Yeah,
associated with the banks. So the banks that's a foreclosure. So they have their real estate agent, quote, who will have these properties to disperse for them. So what I can do, if somebody's looking for that, I can contact that real estate agent and say,
yes,
I've got a client looking for XYZ. Have you got that on your books?
Yes.
But there is, as far as I'm aware, there is no website. There is no list because every bank have their own agents that look after that for them.
Well, in terms of list, yes, there's a list, but that list comes from the banks to the attorney.
Oh, that's new.
No, the banks, because that's what I did, so I would know. So the list comes from the bank to the attorney. But there is, yes, you're correct, Judy. There are certain real estate agents that align themselves with certain banks that does the work for a certain bank. So over the years, I can tell you there are like 2 particular real estate agents that I would have dealt with that deal specifically with the bank. But then again, there are certain banks that do them in-house themselves. They try to do them sometimes without the real estate agent.
Yeah.
Oh. So they try to sell it without going through the real estate agent.
Yeah, some of them try to do it. It's not always the best idea. But some of them have tried to do it. But usually they align themselves with an agent, and the agent advertises the property.
Yeah. So you basically would ring the agent, email the agent, and ask them, "Have you got any foreclosures?" That's what you could do.
That's what I can do.
I don't know if they would say it is a foreclosed property.
Okay.
Some of them might not want to reveal. They can tell you they have listing of property, this place, that place, but they might not say it is a foreclosed property.
Interesting. Okay. What's your thoughts on that, Judy?
Well, I know of an agent who that's all he deals with, and he tells me that they're foreclosed properties. So if somebody wants a foreclosed property and they know what price range they're looking at, then I can call him and say, do you have any properties in that price range?
Oh, that's good.
And what I have noticed in the past is that sometimes the banks advertise the properties in the Nation newspaper. It's not all the time. It's not all the time. It's now and again I have seen it, but it's not all the time. Yeah. And there's also, I've been told by the Nation newspaper that they're having their own property newspaper.
Okay.
Yes, that you can go and have a look and see what properties are being for sale, a separate property paper.
So this is another question. Are you able to start by purchasing land without financing and then build later.
What,
Yes.
when you say without finance, you mean finance to build a house?
That's what I'm thinking. I think, look, it's Love and Grace. You say, are you able to start by just purchasing the land
Oh. Mm-hmm.
and then finance it, to build it later and get the financing? And that's what I'm thinking. If I've got
Yeah.
that wrong, Love and Grace, let me know.
I'm thinking that way as well, Jackie. Yes, you can do that. You can buy the land and then you can build. You can get a mortgage or a loan to build later.
Yeah, yeah. And that's actually a good thing. I've seen more people actually buying land. Actually, there's been some good plots of land that people are buying. Are there any legal? This one I think is for you, Judy. Gail, actually. Well, you say, are there any legal restrictions on foreigners owning land or real estate in Barbados?
No, we don't have any legal restrictions. Once that you are not, the money that you're bringing in is clean and the lawyer is doing his due diligence and everything is okay, there are no restrictions. You can come in and you can buy land in Barbados, buy property in Barbados. So no
So,
restrictions.
so continuing that, they're saying, and what are the taxes and fees imposed on foreigners when buying real estate?
There are no taxes and fees imposed on foreigners. Fees and taxes. No,
Okay.
there's no special treatment. The only difference between you and I is that your money is coming from abroad.
Yeah. And because it's coming from abroad and it has to be the exchange rate, that is always the
Yes,
issue thing.
the exchange rate. Yes, the
Yes,
exchange rate, because you know the pound change
yes,
regular.
yeah,
Where US is more stable.
exactly. So that's
Mhm.
why I had to send a bit more money, because sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Now this is a real. I've asked you this question. Now this is a question to actually you, Gail, again, and it's about, can you talk about the tourist visa? Because we talked about this because I talk about the fact that I come for 6 months, but after 3 months I go to get the 3-month extension. Now that's something I've been doing for a long time, but you were saying to me you could actually leave it until the 5th month. Is
Yeah,
that
you
what you're
can.
saying?
So I won't call it a tourist visa, but
Yeah,
you just go and get your extension of stay if you want to stay for another 6 months. Once you take in your passport and your ticket and the application fee, you can go in and you can get your extension of stay in Barbados, because usually they would ask you like why you want to extend your stay.
yeah.
We don't usually
Now,
find people getting turned around because of that, because people usually just want to extend their holiday, especially if we have a lot of first timers that come and they usually extend their stay.
but what I've noticed is that you have to have a good valid reason
Yes,
as well. Mm,
you have to have a
yeah,
good reason.
yeah. So
Yes.
just make sure that you've got a valid reason, because they can say no. Because I've heard of instances where they refused and you don't know why, but they refused. So it's hard to know. I think you just need to go in there, because remember, the immigration will ask you questions and they're very strict in their manner, and they want to ask you questions and they want to know the answers, and they could lead into more questions.
Yes.
That's how I found them to be.
Hmm.
Now, because I've been going so many times, they kind of know me. So they basically said to me, you can apply for, immigration. Um, and I said, oh, yes, that's what I wanted to do. But they said, no, we'll tell you when you can apply for that. So it's just to know that you have to, it's not a given that you can go through these processes. But the
Hmm.
more that they see that you're doing things in the right way, the legal way, then they'll see that, yes, this is somebody who we feel this is ready for that.
That's why you have to go in person, because they need to see you and ask all of these questions.
Yeah, they ask you a lot of questions. So yeah, so that's an answer to say that you can then stay till the 5 months, but always make sure do not go over the 6 months, because that's going to set you up
you
to
cannot.
fail. Once you do that, you're set up to fail if you want to do things later, you know, for more long term. So right, Rosemary, lovely to see you. She's just joined. She's living in Canada. Now, Z is saying, this is for you, Judy. Is it cheaper to rent or do Airbnb when you're scouting? You know, when you just come in to see what the place is like.
It's
Or
cheap to rent. It's cheaper to rent if you can find something to rent for, because there's something where people take Airbnb because it's a short-term rental.
Yeah.
And when people want to rent, it's normally long-term, and that's anything between 6 months to a year. So it will be cheaper because the rent is a stable rent that the income that the landlord will receive. But when you're doing Airbnb, you'll be there for like 2 weeks, 3 days, a week, and then somebody else comes in after. So it is cheaper if you're going to come in for 6 months to find a property, to try to find somewhere to rent.
Yeah. I've heard that often landlords will do a discount if you're prepared to stay for something like 6 months and so
Correct.
on. Yeah, so it's worth going through a real estate broker, real estate agent to actually find people like that who are willing to give you the discount because of the fact that you're staying longer.
Yeah, because you're going to stay longer. Because at the moment there is a lot of people coming into Barbados.
Yeah.
And Gail was talking to earlier, we were talking about this earlier, that because there's a lot of people coming into Barbados, the long-term rental inventory has decreased. So, but we still got a lot of inventory for short-term, i.e. Airbnb.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of properties out there for rental, but anything for up to 6 months to a year, there's fierce competition.
Okay, so that's useful to know. Someone, Sharon has said, how do you find out about the foreclosed properties? I think we spoke about that, didn't we? We said I've seen them advertised on Carib List where they actually state they are foreclosures. But I think what you were saying was sometimes you might see them in the Nation newspaper, and sometimes banks are selling them directly. So it can be tricky, but you would just need to, I think, discuss that with the realtor and find out, let them know that this, what possibilities are out there and if they know of any. You think that's right, Judy?
That's the best thing to do. Because even if it's a foreclosure, you would have an idea of what you want for a foreclosure as a person to buy. So you have an idea what you want and how much you want to spend. So do speak to the realtor, because then they can find something as a foreclosure. Or there are some fixer-uppers on the market as well. There's not every property is going to be turnkey, move-in ready. So there are other options.
Okay. So Lorianne has said, I bought some land in St. Philip, Barbados in 2009 and gradually built my own home over the years. I really think that that's the best way. Just do it slowly over a period of time. Like I said, get the mortgage whilst you've got a good salary, because it's more challenging to get it when you don't have that salary. Not to say that you can't, but there's a lot of evidence that you need to prove that you can afford to pay the mortgage back. And also you have a shorter term in which to pay the mortgage back. So that's also something to consider when you leave it to my age. So let's have a look. So Gallivanting Grammar says, thanks for that. AJ said, reason I would choose an Airbnb is it's because it's easier to leave without hassle, because in terms of the return of the deposit, etc. Whereas with the Airbnb, you can stay for a lengthy period if it's available. So that's why people are probably looking at Airbnb. And C said, yes, I've been looking into the Airbnb and I'm planning to do a sabbatical first and see how I go. Did your diasporan said, is it fierce competition on the east side of the island for long-term rentals?
All over.
Whoa.
All over the island. All over
Wow.
the island. Because you got to remember, you're not just looking for a property for people coming from overseas. There's also the locals who are looking for properties as well.
Yes,
Rentals.
that's true.
So it's all over.
Yeah. Okay. So, Gail, a question to you. How can I become a resident if I don't have Barbadian heritage? So, like, say for somebody like me, is it actually possible to do that?
You would have to be resident too. You can always marry a Bajan, number one.
Okay.
But sometimes they like to see that you have been here up and down for like consistent 5 years or so, and
Yeah.
as I say, then it goes to what you own, what your income is like. It is always about what you own, and it is always about proof of wealth,
Right.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
right? But yes, so somebody on the welcome stamp that has been getting an extension all the time, eventually they can apply for that. But for somebody coming in, it's not a matter just coming in and just applying for it. But because the only thing that can work for you if you're coming in, like you want to set up a business and stuff, you have the work permit, or if you have a job here that's secured for you, the employer will get a work permit. But in case of residency, they have to show that you were here for like 5 years in between, for like the last 5 years, and then you can apply. But as I say, it all depends on your wealth, and it all depends on property as well, anything that you owe. Yeah. And then there's an age factor, because if you're over 60 then you have better chances as well
Right.
of getting
Right.
residency once you're over 60. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, Love and Grace says, yes, building a home slowly can help to avoid the mortgages. So that's something to consider as well. And I know that there are people within the Expat Barbados community who are when I say younger, they're in their 30s and their 40s, and they're at a time where they can perhaps think about that. I wanted to just talk a little bit about what it is that we, some ideas that we have planned for our Expat Barbados community before we end, because it's almost an hour. If I just wanted to let people know before we finish off with a couple more questions, because I've got some questions here. If you're serious about moving forward with this dream of moving to Barbados, then what I'm doing is I'm looking for people who want to know more. Now, the fact that you came to this live shows me that you really are interested in learning more about this, because if you're planning to move to Barbados, it's not something that's going to be done overnight. It's something that is a year or two, even a longer term plan. So if you are interested to know more about this and do more of this, there will be a private Facebook group or a WhatsApp group which you can access. Now, this is all free. This is just something that we want to be able to set up so that we can communicate with people a lot more closely and more conveniently rather than going through YouTube. So it will give you an opportunity to access webinars and opportunities for meetups within Barbados and virtually as well, because what we're trying to do is build a community. So these people will get first offers for group relocation tours. As you know, that's something that we are doing. And it's great that you've been able to see Gail and Judy, because these are people who I would say to you are the people that you should be researching, you should be looking into, for people who will help you, to go through these processes, because there's no getting away from the fact that these processes can be very stressful, can be very challenging. But if you have people who you know are doing their due diligence and that they are ethical, they're following the codes of conduct to ensure that everything is done smoothly and swiftly, then that's where I would recommend what we're trying to offer, you know. So what I would like you to do is email me a simple email to contact expatbarbados@gmail.com and just say, yes, I'm interested in this community group, which we are forming. And it will be for groups for people like yourselves who are really seriously interested and want to get the facts and information and have the right people. Because what we will have next is somebody who will be able to support you in terms of healthcare, because again, that's really important. As you can see, Gail is very, she specializes in immigration. So therefore, we need people, as well as a whole wealth of other things as well. And Judy, as you see, you know, has so much expertise, was, you know, a banker, and now with the real estate work that she's doing all over the island. You need people that you can trust, who can give you the information and that you can think, right, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I know what these people, they've said they're going to do, and they've done it. Because for me, I feel that even though I had challenges with purchasing my house, to be honest, the challenges were never with my attorney, never. Thank goodness I had Gail, because it could have been a lot longer. And I don't want to go into the details, but I think, you know, when you've got somebody up there who knows exactly what's expected and can give you the advice and keep you calm and ensures that, you know, when things don't go the way you thought they were going to do, they know exactly what to do. And I feel it's worth sticking with people who can do that. So that's why I'm recommending Gail and also Judy as well, because of their expertise and experience, and the fact that, you know, they've worked with international clients. And I think that's another thing for us to remember, Gail, is that, and also Judy, because sometimes when we talk about, you say your wealth, it doesn't mean to say that you have to be a billionaire to, because this is something that people think you have to be a billionaire to come here. I'm most definitely not a billionaire. I've worked for 35 years in education. I'm definitely not a billionaire. I think most people will say teachers don't get paid. They're not the highest paid people. So it's having the right people with the knowledge. I think that's important, because sometimes people only see certain things advertised, and you need people who can actually say, well, actually, there is a way for you. This is what you need to do. And I think that would give you the confidence. So yeah, so if you are interested in joining this community, then please, as I said, email me, because there's lots of things that we're going to be doing, because we want to encourage you, because there's a lot of things happening out there now. And I think it's important that people make the move really within the next few years, because things are changing all the time, and who knows what things might come in place in the future, which might make it more challenging to make that move. Okay, so I'm not saying rush. I'm just saying get in communities with like-minded people who have the expertise, who are able to give you the advice to help you move forward, so that you don't get caught up with people who are not giving you the best advice. So simply email me. I'll put my email here, and you'll also see my email in the description. This live will be available to watch probably tomorrow. You will be able to look at it, and you will be able to see all the information, because it has to be uploaded. So anybody who's watching this live afterwards, in the next week or 2 weeks or even a month or longer from now, you will be able to find all the information in the description. Okay, so let me just say, last two questions. I just wanted to ask Judy, is there anything that you think that we've not sort of covered that people need to think or should really be thinking about when looking at purchasing property or renting property here in Barbados? Something that would help them to sort of, get started.
Well, I think the first thing you got to is think about what is it you want. Are you looking for investment? Are you looking for a long-term, a property that you will stay in for the rest of your life? Are you looking to rent? And that's the first thing. That's the first question you ask yourself. And then you can go from there, because once you've answered those questions, then you know what the next steps are. And also, you need to know your budget. What are you prepared to pay, and what's your risk tolerance as well? Because some people are a bit, I'm not prepared to do that. I will stick on this side of the island. I'm not prepared to stay here. So you have to know yourself and know exactly what you want before you approach a real estate agent. Well, a real estate agent will help you go through that process anyway with you. They should be able to go through that process with you to make you feel comfortable, and so you understand exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Judy. So I've put my email, contact expatbarbados@gmail.com. I've put it in the chat so that you can see, and that will be a way to let us know. If you want to follow up more and find and do a bit more research, then I've asked Judy and also Gail to give me their details, because like we said, we want to be very open. If you want to do your due diligence, you want to check out their social media or check out their emails, then again, that will be shared. Judy, do you want to share you have a website, don't you?
I have a website called mynewblueskyhome.com. And on that website, I have several blogs, and the blogs will be very, very helpful, because they ask all the questions that you should be asking with regarding to buying, living in Barbados. Is it safe? And there's several ones that have been posted. They're not time sensitive, and they're just questions that in general people should be asking. So I really will recommend that you go and have a look at that, not just to look at my properties, but just to look at those blogs and to get your brain working. And then you say, well, yes, this is what this is what the question I should have asked. This is what I should be looking at.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Judy. I'm going to share that as well. And Gail, is there anything or specific that you want to say? Anything last or anything that you think people should be looking at when they are thinking about making the move to Barbados? Because I'm thinking about a lot of the things that people seem to be concerned about is immigration, because they're thinking, if I'm going to come here for how many years, or I'm going to invest my money here, I'd like to eventually become a resident. So
yeah. In terms of that, you have to look at first if you want to come here, depending on your age as well, if you want to come here to work, and what will what it entails for you to come here and work and to set up a business. And another aspect is if you also have kids, school age. You have to think of all that. There are facilities here for you to come here and go through the immigration process, but you can still have your kids in school. There are certain schools that are set up for expat kids as well. And basically, yes, that is it. It's just you have to have an idea basically of what you want. If it is long term, if you just want to be here to test the waters, if you want to be here for 5 years, if you see it, you want to come back to live. So the different types of services the immigration offers will depend on you and what you want.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to end this live, actually, Gail. It's about what you want and knowing the right people to ask to see if it's possible. And I think that's important, because what I've learned is that there are other ways. It's a matter of asking the right people and sharing with the right people your personal situation. Everybody's situation when you go through immigration is different. You know, it's all different because it's about your personal situation. So I wouldn't just give in or give up. No, make sure you have the right people there to support you, who have got that expertise and have the you know, they understand your passion and about what you're trying to do, and will try every little route to get you to where you need to be. And I think that's an important thing. Okay. So I would just like to say thank you so much to our amazing guests. You've been incredible. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Yeah, honestly, because it's a Sunday. They both have families, and they've been working on this. We've been working on this for quite a while. So if you want to experience more of this, but in a smaller group off YouTube, and you want to learn more and have the support of a community, then please send me that email, contact expatbarbados@gmail.com. And on that, I will share all the information that you need from today. It will all be up there. And I just want to quickly see if I can, Judy, will you say your website again, please? Because I don't want to say it wrong, post it wrong.
I could send you the link, but it's mynewblueskyhome.com.
So my new
Blue.
sky.
Blue?
Oh, my new blue. Let me see if I can get this right. Everybody, sorry. My new blue
sky home.com.
.com. Right, let me just get the www in. My new blue sky home.com.
Correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
so
the blogs are under there, and they would have, I think I've covered every question that you would possibly ask and more with the answers.
Yeah. So everybody's saying a huge thank you to you all. They're saying it's great information, and they really want to, continue this. Someone says, how do I sign up? Which is really great and really positive to hear that.
Yes.
Very helpful info. You covered a lot in this time, and looking forward to the next one. Give thanks. Thank you so much to you all. Thank you to all. I feel so much gratitude to be a part of this beautiful community of people, like-minded people who have this dream and are prepared to, work for it, and we can get there. So just remember that. And let me just check to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Love and Grace says thank you. Lauren says thanks very much. Georgette, thank you. Oh, hi, Georgette. Thank you very much. That's my cousin who you would have seen in the videos at Christmas. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Genevieve, thank you. All keep sharing useful information. But remember what I said, everybody. Send me the email, because it's really important. Tana, excellent. I've just seen you. Thank you so much for coming. Honestly, guys, there are so many people in this chat here. Some of them who actually are in Barbados now. They've already started their dating of Barbados, getting to know Barbados.
Their
Let
journey.
me tell you, it's actually happening now. And there are people in this chat who I've met up with, who were subscribers, and they're actually out here now. So please understand this really is happening, and you can make it work for yourself. So thank you very much, everybody. And I think that's it. I'd just like to ask, I'm going to end the stream, and I'll get back to Judy and Gail afterwards, okay? Just so that we can make sure we've got everything sorted out. But thank you so much, everybody. And please share this live. As I said, it will be on the channel. It could be a couple of hours, but please, when you see it, please go on and like the video, because it really is important that you like the video. And please make sure, if you haven't subscribed, that you subscribe. Would you believe it? I've got people that follow me, but still I have a high percentage of people who haven't subscribed. So I would love it if you would subscribe if you haven't already, and please share the channel and this video. Thank you so much, everybody. So bye.
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 Now.
Okay. All right. And yes, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. All right. See you. Bye. Before we go, ladies, I'm going to get a quick photo.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So, quick photo. Yes, with the chat.
You got it?
Got it. See you all, everybody.